lovelies, we are here for you today on this installment of the monthly roundup, which kind of turned into a summer roundup. We speak about the Defenders,
Glow,
Rick and Morty, movies,
Wonder Woman, Spiderman,
Dark Tower,
It Comes at Night.
It Comes at Night, and lots of other great amazing stuff.
Like, I've been completely gone from Alchemss for the entire summer.
And followers have missed you.
I'm back, and I'm sorry, but I am here again. And today we have a beautiful special guest.
Hi.
Alisha, would you like to introduce yourself, even though I just said your name?
So, yeah, I'm Alisha Weinberger. I write for a lovely pop culture enthusiast website known as The Pop Break, and I share incredibly reluctant resemblance to Tina Belcher. And,
yes.
Yeah, I like nerd shit.
Absolutely.
So.
Do you like butts?
I don't mind them.
Let's talk about TV.
Yeah, the most recent thing on TV was The Defenders.
Yeah, like literally super recent. What, like last week this came out?
Yeah.
I watched the whole thing. How far did you get?
I'm sorry. I got to episode 4-ish. Whenever they decided to like just go into some innocent man's Chinese restaurant and just chill out, and that just took way too long, and I did totally fall asleep around the time Sigourney Weaver showed up and was like, "Hey, Danny Rand, join me." And the other 11 million people that want you to join me, because apparently Elektra's not good enough, I guess.
So I definitely, in the same boat as you, I fell asleep during the second episode, woke back up, and then I was like, what am I watching? Like, I'll turn this off. And then I just never went back to watching The Defenders again. But Sigourney Weaver, I'm going to admit, definitely, Sigourney Weaver
oh, yeah.
Totally threw me off in that show, because I did not expect an actress of her caliber to be on a Netflix show. I don't know. It kind of, I was just like taken back by that, like, whoa, alien, no.
I just want to say, when she comes on screen, I literally like scream, and she's just hashtag fashionist. Like, every scene that she's in her best dress.
She really is.
This is a horrible thing to say, but she even made dying of cancer look great.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, yeah, she doesn't look sick at all. It's kind of like unbelievable.
Not at all.
How great she looks.
She rolls into her own MRI in a beautiful, just one white piece, like, fur trench coat cross chest thing. It's great. It was incredible.
Oh yeah. But Jenna, I know you watched the entire thing, so you're gonna have to tell us all about it.
All about it. I don't want to give anything away because it's still like barely a week out, so a lot of people probably haven't gotten through it.
I think everyone who wanted to watch it has watched it already.
I'm still very sensitive about spoilers. I think it gets better as it goes along. They definitely didn't need more than 8 episodes. They probably could have done it in 6. But overall, I didn't watch Iron Fist, and I know you guys kind of felt the same about his character and how I just I got through it by taking him with a grain of salt. I was just, I don't know, totally thrown by him because he just didn't fit that gritty, dark exterior that Jessica, Luke, and Daredevil, Matt Murdock presented.
That's definitely something that I completely disliked about the show is Iron Fist. I watched Jessica Jones because I liked the drama aspect of it. You guys know I'm not really into superheroes, but just the drama that was in Jessica Jones kept me going watching it throughout the entire series. Luke Cage, I was a little into Luke Cage, but I did fall off of that, but I still like his character. So Iron Fist, and Daredevil too, I watched a little bit of Daredevil and enjoyed that, but Iron Fist, I did not watch any of it. But then coming to the Defenders, Iron Fist just did not, for me, he didn't fit in well. Like you're saying, he's just not as dark as them. So it's kind of more like,
he's flat. That's the problem.
Yeah.
The problem with his character is he's completely flat, and I don't know if they dialed back. I personally don't think it's any of the actors' fault, because I watched Iron Fist in its entirety, and there was just lines of dialogue that just felt really just ham-fisted, and I don't know if they were just dialing things back because amid that the whole controversy of his race and like his ethnicity and then the whole casting controversy. It just felt like, because like I'm watching The Defenders, and there's that scene where he's on the private jet and he's having like these PTSD moments where, okay, dope, like you could go somewhere with that. And even in Iron Fist they touched upon that, and I felt like they were trying to originally write that he like has like the mind of a 5-year-old child, or still has like the mind of a 7-year-old child when he like crash landed in whatever some mountain Doctor Strangeland, and like that's his problem, like he has like this dissociative behavior like living in the modern world, and he's just do doesn't get it, man. But they didn't explore that whatsoever, and in The Defenders it just felt once again so ham-fisted, like, oh, I'm having, do you remember my PTSD moments, like, oh, like, remember that, Colleen, like, yeah, we need to really talk about that in 5 seconds in this one scene, but never touch on it again.
He was like super, like, I felt like he was like a whiny character. Like, I don't think he was particularly whining about anything, but there was something about him that was just like, oh, like, come on.
I think Luke Cage said it best. When him and Luke Cage first meet, he's like, you're just an overprivileged rich white boy. Like, you have no idea.
He said that to him?
Pretty much, essentially. What? Yeah, when he first meets him in the dojo. And he's like, you know, you're not my kind of guy.
Wait, but he first meets him in a dojo, but they met in an alley.
Yes.
They fought each other in the alley because they didn't know who each other was.
Okay.
And
then Rosario Dawson's character brings them together.
How do you feel about Rosario Dawson's character?
Okay, so the whole... my biggest complaint about the chronology of the Netflix series, and I think this was the biggest problem with Iron Fist, is, alright, so Daredevil exists on its own, and that's why when you watch Daredevil 1 and 2, season 1 and 2, you don't see the other characters in there because he came first. So logically, like he really is the first superhero in this street level universe. And then you had Jessica Jones, which I think came out between those 2 seasons. But even in Jessica Jones, Luke Cage showed up in Jessica Jones. And then logically, you got a Luke Cage series. So when I went into Iron Fist, I expected I'm gonna see Luke Cage or Jessica Jones in some more tangible way.
Yeah.
Or even Daredevil, because his world touches more on Daredevil's world than Jessica Jones or Iron Fist. So like even if Daredevil showed up in like one episode or had more of a fallout from the events of Daredevil other than just Rosario Dawson, I feel like the shows are too dependent on Rosario Dawson, and she's just becoming this driving force instead of just letting the characters tell the story. Like Rosario Dawson is becoming this key link, and it's nothing against, once again, the actress, it's just the writing is, I feel like they're too worried about, or people are gonna get confused in between these series and these seasons, so we need somebody to just be walking exposition.
Yeah.
Because that's what she is walking exposition.
Is that essentially how she plays out throughout the rest of the series?
She actually plays a lot more alongside Colleen's character, and Colleen has someone to bounce back off of when, you know, Danny Rand's character gets taken away, and we don't see much of him for like the last half of the season. And she kind of builds a stronger footing as the rock and the base of both Luke and Daredevil, and how she's, I guess, the voice of reason. I think she plays that role more so in The Defenders than she has in the past, and that's how I feel that they're justifying her character. Not that her character needs justifying, but that's what I got from it.
Okay. And Luca just decides she needs to just chew her bones. Right here next to... She literally will stand here and chew this bone.
Right next to her is the set of Game of Thrones. We're so lucky to be here.
We're
right
so lucky
so
to have
honored.
one of the direwolves on our show. Oh my gosh, how are we not going to talk about Game of Thrones?
Oh, hashtag boat sex.
Oh my gosh. So, actually, I must admit, I am 2 episodes behind in Game of Thrones because I started watching Twin Peaks in its entirety from the very first season of it. So I kind of like stopped watching everything else just so I could concentrate on Twin Peaks. So I missed 2 episodes of Game of Thrones. So don't spoil anything for me.
Oh.
But I did watch probably the greatest episode of TV history with the dragon and the fire and
Are you 2 episodes behind?
Yeah,
so
or 3.
So did you get to the part where the whole Lannister thing happens and the caravan and
the caravan? You mean with the weapon?
Yeah.
Yes. And
okay.
Maybe we should not talk about Game of Thrones.
Oh, man.
But
there's so much to talk about.
I know there really is. Maybe we'll do it. We'll do an episode just for Game of Thrones. Honestly, you and I could literally talk about Game of Thrones for hours. So moving back over to Netflix and a show that can be spoiled would be Glow.
I love Glow. I binged that like in 2 days.
I did do it in 5 hours. 5 hours. Like I came home.
Pretty short episodes. Like
they are
20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, so there's 10 episodes. Yeah, and you're right. So there's 30-minute episodes. So I came home one day after work and I told my boyfriend, I was like, there's a show everyone's talking about. We need to watch it. And he's like, no, that sounds so stupid. But I was like, it is the greatest show, apparently. So we turned it on and Alison Brie, the pilot episode, honestly, was like just so well done. That's why I just kept watching it for 5 hours straight.
Great soundtrack too. I really, I digged it. I went in, I was very reluctant watching the show for a while. I'm like, I'm not into pro wrestling, but then someone was like, oh, it's set in the 80s. And I was like, all right, well, they executed the whole 80s thing with Stranger Things very well. So let's see how it is. Because I'm kind of digging this wave of let's set movies in different decades, but like not force the decade to be the aesthetic. So like, for example, when you watch Drive has an 80s aesthetic, but it's not in the 80s.
Gotcha.
Where I'm watching Stranger Things, it's not just like neon and Blade Runner all the time and like Flock of Seagulls. So it's, like I watch Glow and Stranger Things and it feels like I'm looking at a Polaroid of like my parents.
Yeah.
And so there's a believability to it and a realism. So I watched Glow and it was interesting to see like as crazy as like these women have the same problems we do now, but it's even worse because it's set in the 1980s. Yes. There's like a heartbreaking sequence where like Alison Brie has to go get an abortion and it's f***ed up and that's like one of the few. Also kudos to Marc Maron who's just.
Marc Maron, and I'm a huge Marc Maron fan because like his podcast is awesome as well. And this is the first role that he's taken where he's not playing himself. So this is his first character role, and I think he killed it in terms of like comedy. And Kate Nash also is. Do you guys know who Kate Nash is?
Yeah. Who is she?
The girlfriend, the Miss Britannica. Right?
Oh, she's the British chick.
Yes,
British chick.
Yeah. And, right? Isn't that her name?
Yeah, her name's Britannica. Yeah, and she's the one that does the rap.
Yes! So, so I did not realize that Kate Nash was in the show, and then when somebody told me, I was like, wait, what? Kate Nash? The Kate Nash that I used to listen to back in, like, 2006? And I was like, oh my god! And I didn't know that until...
Oh, wait, Kate Nash is in the musician.
Yeah!
Like, I'm sorry, that just clicked with me.
Yes.
Like, oh, Kate Nash, and she did the album with the little drawing, childish drawing on it.
So, did it just click for you now?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the exact feeling that I had.
I didn't know that was Kate Nash.
Yes. So, like, how wild is that? But she did great.
Yeah.
She was excellent in that as well. The acting in general, like, was awesome in Glow, and
it had really balanced writing, which. You know, it had like a huge cast, and I was really happy to see like arguably like Alison Brie and her friend, who she home wrecks, are like essentially the main characters.
Yes.
But they were still very good throughout the season. They were setting up all these dynamics that will be inevitably explored in the second season. So, tackling things like race obviously was a big thing, and juxtaposing it to the current events of the 80s. Yeah. So there was like the one actress who I don't know her name. You said she was in Mr. Robot. She plays like her wrestler's name is Beirut.
Beirut, yeah.
And like amidst the whole. You know, like the happenings of the 80s, people were like saying all these like really messed up like racial things to her.
Which still is happening today.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
But like it sets up like all these characters have, beyond just Alison Brie and her character, and even beyond just Mark Maron, there's all these like internal dialogues and dynamics that are happening in which they didn't explore it, but I didn't feel like they didn't explore it because it was underused. They're just setting up for second season.
Exactly. Like same way with like the wolf
woman.
Wolf woman
Yeah.
who she's expressing that she wants to be who she is inside and become that and for real and live that in society, which there's so many themes in that show and actually across a couple of shows right now. So that show is set in the 80s. There's a show that I'm not sure if you guys watch. I don't think a lot of people are watching it though. It's I'm Dying Up Here.
With Jim Carrey.
It's Jim Carrey is the producer of it.
Yeah.
And that show is set in the 70s, and same thing. It is complete, like there's a theme of like female empowerment in that, which is what we're still struggling with today.
I totally agree, but I really do like seeing that this group of female actresses being such well-written, well-rounded characters, and that they're the focus of the series, like how Orange is the New Black kind of, I don't want to say it was the first on the scene because it wasn't, but they kind of popularized this like female group centered type of television series, and I see Glow following that same format, and I really look forward to the second season where I hope that they do the Orange is the New Black thing where they go and make the other characters the forefront. And
Yes,
more about
that would
them.
be awesome. Because to go back into all those characters in Glow would be so sick, just like in Orange is the New Black. That would be a great format for them. But Orange is the New Black, I know you guys didn't watch it, but I did, and that season was excellent as well. I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to bore everybody.
Yeah, I kind of dropped off of Orange is the New Black. I'll get to it eventually, maybe over the winter or something like that.
I think, didn't you drop off even last season too? Don't you look at my microphone because you're not going to eat it. You are not going to eat that microphone.
Yeah, in the middle of the last season, I like heard what the big thing was at the end, and I was just so upset.
Yeah.
And also, like, it was kind of dragging for me at the time, like the storyline, and I was kind of frustrated from the season before that, so I wasn't all that happy with it.
No, you should definitely keep watching it. I mean, there's so many TV shows in the summertime. What other TV shows did you guys watch? I know you're a big Rick and Morty fan.
I'm a huge Rick and Morty fan. That's my one main thing at the pop break. For the most part, I tend to review Rick and Morty and more of the Adult Swim weird bizarreness that happens over there after 9 o'clock on Cartoon Network.
The one show that I watched on Adult Swim was Aqua Teen Hunger Force. That's not around anymore, is it?
Not anymore.
Okay, because I was like such a huge Aqua Teen fan.
Yeah, no, I loved Aqua Teen. I feel though like Adult Swim is definitely heading into more, I don't want to say like a serious direction. I mean, they still have like insane shows like Decker, and there's the whole viral.
Is Eric Andre on Adult Swim?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So
yeah,
I
the
can
Eric
say
Andre show. Yeah.
I absolutely love that show as well.
Oh, he's amazing.
I want to meet you, Eric Andre. I think that you and I can have like
be our guest.
An awesome, strange conversation.
Just crash through this wall and replace me.
Ah!
Yeah.
No. You would.
Probably throw like raw chickens at us and gallons of milk.
Did you enjoy this season? So do you review every episode?
Not every episode. Unfortunately, I don't. But I'm pretty consistent with it. I tend to review episodes that will break more from like the mold of previous seasons or previous episodes. So I'm currently working on the review for the Jerry episode because that's the first time we've seen Rick really pair off with another character that wasn't just Morty. Yeah, so like this season's definitely more humanized.
Okay. So less zany.
Yeah, and I can understand. Yeah, I can understand why it took. Now I can understand why it took them so long to write it. They're definitely utilizing their other voice actors. They're bringing in a bunch of guests. So
really?
Yeah. So like Tom Kenny from SpongeBob's in it.
What?
Yeah. So he was in it.
What is Tom Kenny doing SpongeBob?
He's SpongeBob.
He's SpongeBob.
Yeah, he's SpongeBob. He's
what?
the man. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Can SpongeBob make an appearance in Rick and Morty?
Well, Vulture just did a quick like interview with Dan Harmon, Justin Roiland, and oh my god, the other writer. writer. His name's Justin. No, I forgot his name. I'm sorry. He's a great writer too. I'm sure he is. And then the two cast, Spencer Grammer and Sarah Chalk, and they did one of those improvised episodes where they go to Bikini Bottom, and it's like terribly animated and it's hilarious and it's just nonsense and fourth wall breaking. It's great. But yeah, no, this season's definitely more. The reason why I love Rick and Morty so much, and I think this season could attest to it the most, is if you were to remove the sci-fi element from it, it would still be a great show. It would just be a show about fucked up people and a shitty grandfather and a family and like the terrible nihilist habits that we live in.
and like I was mentioning to you before that I tried to watch Rick. I really wanted to get invested into Rick and Morty, but I watched the first episode and it was just a little too zany for me. So now I feel like I should give it another try just so I could get to this season.
Yeah, in season 1 and 2, there were definitely like some serious episodes. There's one where Rick meets up with his ex-girlfriend who's a hive mind controlling a planet, and then at the end, he tries to kill himself. And,
oh my god!
Yeah, it's really depressing and dark. And they go there, and then in season 1, Morty essentially ends the world in his one dimension, and then the way they escape it is they simply go to another dimension where they die and they bury their own dead bodies. And there's this 3-minute sequence where he's just walking through his house and his parents are fighting and his sister's just being an annoying sister, and he just realized that nothing matters in this universe.
That is so deep.
So they're definitely exploring more of these darker sides of these characters and everybody's depravity, and like I said, they're utilizing the cast more. And I think this is I can understand why it took them so long to do this episode. And it's also for this season because it's also probably the most animated season. Yeah. So they did the Pickle Rick episode. The Jerry episode, which was just last week, was incredibly animated. There's great sequences in it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
You definitely gotta watch Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna definitely give it another shot. And I mean, there are so many things this summer that I just haven't gotten a chance to watch. But you've told me really great things about Okja.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So, that's definitely a completely different tone, right, to Rick and Morty.
It's definitely like if you like Rick and Morty, I'm gonna assume you probably like more messed up, darker sci-fi, like things like Black Mirror.
Black Mirror is awesome.
Once again, like going on this nihilistic theme of where's humanity going? Like, does anything matter? Like, can we avoid the horrible things that we do? Okja is the way I describe Okja is it's Miyazaki meets Black Mirror. It's by Bong Joon-ho, who's famous director Bong Joon-ho. If I'm pronouncing his name wrong, I'm really sorry. He's done things like Snowpiercer, The Host.
Oh, jeez, okay.
But he did Mother, I think that's what it's called. Not to be mixed up with the current A24 movie, but it translates in English, I believe, to Mother, and it's about the Korean mother who's trying to cover up her son's murder.
Insane movie.
Yeah.
I've got to see it.
No, seriously, it's an insane movie.
I love Snowpiercer, so...
Yes, you need to see Mother, because that is a wild trip of a movie.
If you've seen Snowpiercer, Snowpiercer's great, don't get me wrong, but like Joon-ho's like original content is insane. So yeah, and I think I want to say he did Train to Busan, which is a zombie movie that just came out about people stuck on a bullet train,
which I haven't seen yet, but I do want to see that.
Yeah, but Okja's great. If you guys liked Logan, because everybody's favorite part about Logan was the actress who played Laura.
Yeah.
Okja features like an incredible young actress who's probably like no more than 13, 15 years old, and she does like a stellar performance, and she barely speaks English throughout the whole movie. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. She is like a Korean actress, so I
was gonna say she just speaks Korean.
She does speak English at certain parts.
Okay.
And it does come into play into the actual story and themes. It's definitely like an East meets West story, layered with all these things about factory farming and social media and this and that. And Tilda Swinton is in it. And she plays actually 2 characters, and her performance is great. Steven Yeun's in it. Stephen Yoon is really
So
hilarious.
after he died, he went to that universe.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah. He died in The Walking Dead and then was reincarnated in Okja.
Write the fanfiction.
Yeah.
Right. Somebody write that, please.
See what happened. What caused the plague in The Walking Dead was everybody ate the livestock that was being bred in Okja. Boom. That's how
There you
Emma
go.
crossover.
Now
Somebody write a script for me.
I think you're gonna write that.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna film that.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Somebody
definitely
get
write
Stephen
that.
Yoon.
So maybe let's wrap up Netflix, but Netflix has been like all over the place in like the news and stuff.
Yeah.
You were mentioning that some people are pulling out of Netflix, but it's kind of crazy because in the midsummer, I don't remember who it was. It might have been Mark Maron talking about how Netflix is like almost $2 billion in debt, and like just because of how much they're spending on all of their content, all of their original content. But their stocks just continue to go up because people are still investing in the company, and just everything is going so well for Netflix still. But then what you guys were telling me about today was just like totally contradicts that. And my little dog just stole the bone from my big dog. And now they're gonna go fight over it. But yeah, like how insane is that? Like in the one summer, like they could be doing super well, and now why would people be pulling out of Netflix?
Yeah.
Like that's insane.
Probably, go ahead.
No, good.
I would say probably because they're doing so well, they want a piece of the pie.
It just
okay. So you're saying like by pulling their content off of Netflix, they get to get the money for themselves, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
All right. That sucks for Netflix.
Yeah, and I think Netflix's biggest niche was for a long time it was really the only company to take a step back and been like, it was just like, well, screw cable companies. Like,
Yeah.
People don't want to pay this much money for barely any channels they don't want to watch, so let's just give them an option to pay $7 a month and we'll come out with these dope movies that they could just stream from wherever. And then they started doing their original content, and then now I think we're witnessing another paradigm shift where people are just, well, why don't we just do that? I mean, every channel, every network has their own app now, so it would only make sense that Disney is just gonna do their own streaming service.
Yeah.
I mean, Warner Brothers is now doing like a DC animated streaming service, and that's what they're going to premiere the season 3 of Young Justice, which is going to be a big deal.
Summer the blockbuster season. Kind like there really weren't that many movies this summer.
It kind of just boiled down to Wonder Woman and Spider-Man.
And Spider-Man,
Yeah.
Homecoming. So you saw Spider-Man.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about it, because the reason why I didn't watch Spider-Man was because I feel like Spider-Man's origin story is like really boring, and like to me it's just like it's the same all the time.
And I don't need it repeated several
Right?
different times.
Yeah, how many times do we need to repeat the Spider-Man story?
So that's the thing. You're in luck, because it's not. It's literally if you walked into a comic book store, and I think this is what's admirable about the Marvel movies is you don't need any sort of like prior comic book knowledge unless you've lived under a rock or you're Amish and you don't know who Spider-Man is. You're a Gregorian monk. But no, it's like if you literally just walked into a comic book shop, picked up a random issue of Spider-Man, and be like, oh, this is the story arc he's currently in right now.
Okay.
So it's not an origin story of Spider-Man, it's an origin story of Spider-Man and how he became an Avenger. Yeah. So it takes place easily like sometime after. They do hint at Uncle Ben. They do hint at it. It's at a way that's very tasteful and not ham-fisted whatsoever. It's not forced. So for example, there is like Marissa Tomei is excellent in this movie, and I think what's great about this Spider-Man, she's Aunt May. She's the new Aunt May.
Oh, okay.
She's hot Aunt May.
I'm like, you don't know who Marissa Tomei is?
No, I don't.
Yeah. She's George Costanza's just dream girl.
Who's George Costanza?
Have you ever
George.
seen My Cousin Vinny?
Seinfeld.
No.
Lisa.
What's My Cousin Vinny? What's a Seinfeld?
Oh, you millennial.
You millennial.
Millennials.
I know, like, what? What's that?
Basically, Marissa Tomei is the pinnacle actress who is 50 years old, but, and I'm not trying to boil anybody down to their looks, she's a great actress too, but she's slamming. She's
Really?
50 something years old, I'm gonna look like trash when I'm 50, she still looks like she's 30.
She looks exactly
Yeah.
what she
Did in 1980 whatever.
My cousin.
Wow.
Yeah. Like she is, and she's phenomenal. She's such an amazing actress. Like she has talent that goes above and beyond.
Okay.
You know?
I mean, but I don't think there's anyone hotter than Gal Gadot.
Gadot.
There-
Gal
I don't know. We can debate this all day. It's very objective.
Absolutely, but I think that since I haven't seen Spider-Man, I'm gonna say like the movie of the summer for me at least was Wonder Woman. Absolutely, like
I agree.
Wonder Woman is such an that's gonna be the movie that probably one of the first movies I want my daughter to see. I just want her to show her how empowering Wonder Woman is. And did you get to watch Wonder Woman?
I did.
You did. Okay, but you didn't like it.
I liked it. Like, I'm all for girl power. Okay. What I'm about to say, I'm gonna people are gonna be like, oh, you're just trying to be an edgelord. Like,
Let's hear this.
No, I thought it was a great movie. I thought surface level, it looked great. It was
Absolutely.
beautifully shot. It did its best to match the Zack Snyder aesthetic without it being obnoxious. Gal Gadot, everybody was super charming. Gal Gadot was hilarious, which is surprising because I just see her as Giselle from Fast and Furious. But she was wonderful. Like this whole thing where she goes to London for the first time and she's like, oh my god, she just wanted to rip somebody's baby out of their arms and play with the baby, and then she didn't understand anything of the modern world. That was hilarious.
But it was believable.
It was she wasn't the women on and the Themyscira, they were all gorgeous women, but they were believable. They had wrinkles. They're they're all beautiful in their own respects, which is that's a huge thing to pull off.
Yeah.
Is yes, in the comic books they're Greek gods essentially. Of course they're gonna be good looking, but how do you do it without over sexualizing them and turning it into this whole Harley Quinn complex?
Gotcha.
And I think Patty Jenkins and her team, they pulled it off perfectly. I just think, however, where it fell short was I did not feel like Diana was challenged whatsoever. I don't think her character arc and her moral growth throughout the movie wasn't explored enough. It was definitely touched upon a lot. Obviously, there was that one sequence where she sits down with Steve Trevor's homeboys, and they all talk about how his one Native American friend was well, all the white people stole my land, and Scottish people did this and that, and just Diana's eyes opened up to the world of man is corrupt on its own without divine intervention, and that war isn't this black and white thing. It's very much, it's gray, and everybody has their own individual motivations for taking up arms. And that's great. I thought that was a great conversation, but where it fell short was the villain. And I'm not talking about Ares or the guy from American Horror Story. Was Dr. Poison.
Yeah.
I feel like it missed a huge mark where here you have your first, or arguably your first female
Villain.
Major lead hero, superhero.
Oh, okay.
And now you have she's in a movie with a major female villain.
Yes.
That, in their defense, yes, is not very known. I didn't even know Dr. Poison was a comic book character. I was what? That they really reached far back into the lore of Wonder Woman for that. Which is great though, because then use that to your benefit, because now you're working on a clean slate. You have this villain, you can write her however you want to write her. So there was that one interaction where Steve Trevor gate crashes that gala they're in, and he has the conversation with Dr. Poison over that fireplace. That conversation should have been held between Diana and Dr. Poison, because they touched upon where Diana became very disillusioned and didn't want anything to do with mankind anymore, and they just cut back on it. They should have kept rolling with it, where she should have had this conversation with Dr. Poison, who is a human woman who's been scarred by war and completely embraces the depravity of man and here's Diana, like, oh, here's a fellow woman. My mind is going to be shaped by her. Like, she's a woman. Like, I should take her opinion. And they didn't explore that whatsoever. So that end sequence where Diana has that choice to kill Dr. Poison, I was like, who cares? Like, I didn't care. Like, I didn't felt any sort of emotional gravity or challenge towards Diana. Like over a character who's physically perfect, she's a Greek goddess, then you need to challenge her emotionally and morally, which I didn't feel like she was much.
I guess because of how like killing Ares was like her main. That was it for her. Like that was her main goal the entire movie. I mean, it was funny. I actually saw this with my dad for Father's Day, and he thought the movie was really slow, and I was like, okay, maybe because like they did have to build up so much of her character before we could get to like the grit of it and the action. But did you guys think it was slow to build?
I thought it compared to Spider-Man.
Comparing it to Spider-Man,
which I know they're two completely different stories, of course, but I think Wonder Woman was definitely more action heavy than Spider-Man was. Okay. Spider-Man had more character, I think, depth and exploration than Wonder Woman did.
Interesting, because I don't think there was that much action in Wonder Woman.
Oh, there was.
Like, there were some kick-ass moments, but I don't think there was ever a moment where I was like on the edge of my seat, like, holy crap, there's a lot of stuff going on.
I think it took a lot of time to breathe between moments.
Yeah,
that's how I felt about it. I'm biased because I love Wonder Woman. She was the first comic I ever started reading when I was like 14 years old. So like, I was just so excited to finally see her on the big screen. Yeah. That, you know, I totally missed that whole Dr. Poison thing and that point that you brought up. Like, you really bring up a great point about that, how they could have had these two female leads like based off of one another, but they didn't do that and they didn't explore that. And I think that would be a really good sequel, is if they brought Dr. Poison back and they explored that more and they took more chances in that respect.
Instead of it being a female versus the bad man or vice versa. Like,
right.
Yeah, that's a good point too, because they could easily do, because it was dope that Wonder Woman, it took place after Batman versus Superman, but it was a flashback. It was a huge flashback sequence. It was an origin story. But you can build off of that now. You can do a Wonder Woman series of movies that don't take place in a modern era. Like, all right, where was Wonder Woman during World War II or during this conflict or that conflict? Where was she throughout history to get to the point where she is currently in the Justice League universe?
Justice League, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you can easily write like Dr. Poison frozen herself as a meat popsicle.
Yeah, exactly. Han Solo her.
Yeah. Frozen right after Captain America.
Or like you can do some, like the first G.I. Joe movie where it's like Dr. Poison's like great-great-great-granddaughter or something, and like her family's cursed by this lineage of like we're warmongers, and then like she becomes a villain and
Be Not More Agent Orange. Or...
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah.
Any other movies that you guys watched?
One movie that sticks out in my mind is It Comes at Night, which is an A24 movie.
Okay. A24 kills it in terms of everything that they do.
They did The Witch.
Yeah. The Lobster.
I didn't know they did The Lobster.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't watch that yet. I heard good things, but I didn't know they did The Lobster.
But It Comes at Night was a movie that after I think I literally sighed. I went at the end of, you know, when the credits came up, I was just like, ugh. Another movie where I have to think a lot. Like, just give me a solid ending. But no, like I really thought that the camera work in that movie was excellent. Everything about that movie aesthetically was great. I didn't enjoy the story, but I get what they're trying to do. Like, after talking to you about it so many times, like, I get what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I went on this rant with Lisa and it was a little aggressive. Sorry.
She always gets on these aggressive rants all the time.
I really enjoyed It Comes at Night. At first the ending I was like, oh, I felt like it was, you know, a little,
it's definitely one of those movies where you're just like, at the end you're like,
right, you're expecting a whole third act to come. But you really have to think about this movie in order to like appreciate the writing of it. where you're given an unreliable narrator that isn't exactly, you know, thrown in your face. This is an unreliable narrator, and the eldest son, who, you know, is suffering from PTSD, is my theory, and you know that he sees these things and he's making these things up in his mind, and you don't know who killed the dog or who left the door open, but I think ultimately...
Who let the dogs out?
Who let the dogs out. But I ultimately believe that it was him that left the door open, because he does sleepwalk. He does have these dream sequences, I guess you could call
there
them.
are dream sequences.
And he has a hard time differentiating between what's real and what's not.
We'll let you figure it out for yourselves.
If you want a movie that's gonna make you think and that you really have to go back and like explore yourself, I would say that It Comes at Night is for you. If you just want it for the entertainment, you're expecting like a horror movie with a lot of great scares. The scares are there, but that's not what you're gonna get.
It's like a slow build up to a scare, but then there's no scare.
I can see where they put the scares in, but it's not scary. It's not like Annabelle Creation, like jump out of your seat.
Yeah, did you watch Annabelle Creation?
Yeah, I did.
You did?
I did.
What? When?
I saw it last week.
Oh, okay. Was it good?
It was fine.
It was fine.
I mean, I
Alright.
get really scared with these like possession.
Oh yeah,
devil
I really
those
don't
are the
like
only
that
things that really
kind of
like
stuff.
stick with me and keep me up at night, and it did keep me up at night when because I decided to watch it at 10:30 at night. Like,
Oh no.
and I was in an apartment all by myself, which is not the best idea for a scaredy cat like me.
Wait, you watched it on bootleg?
No, I went to the theater and saw.
Oh, I thought you said you watched it at home by yourself.
No, I had to go home.
Oh,
And
okay.
be by myself. But it has a lot of those, like, you know, those scary, creepy things that you get with the Conjuring universe.
The Annabelle. I mean, is it like Babadook scary?
I don't like Babadook. So.
Can't use that. Babadook is so good, and like
It's like it has its moments. It's your typical like possession kind of movie, but there's some elements where you're just like, why don't they hear this girl screaming, or why didn't they just see this girl be dragged into a barn? It was like kind of those things
Really?
that even though your disbelief doesn't become suspended.
you watched another movie recently too. You watched Dark Tower,
Yes, I watched The Dark Tower.
and how was that?
Did you see it?
I didn't. I'm a huge fan of the books, though, which is why I didn't see it, which sounds really pretentious, but I didn't see it. I might see it just for the sake of... Okay, did you read the books?
I read the first one.
Okay. So the way the books ends, and in the whole theme of the books, it explores like multiversity and interdimensionality, and like there's different versions of this, and we live on loops, and etc., etc. So you can get away with saying, well, this is just one dimensional iteration of Roland the Gunslinger, and so I'll give it a shot. I didn't watch it yet, but I'm just excited that it finally came into fruition. So maybe because it's been going on forever. I mean, Ron Howard was gonna do an HBO series, and HBO was like, no, we're gonna do a movie, and then it dropped off, and then J.J. Abrams had something to do with it, and then
Okay, that was
it went on since like 2009. Like,
okay.
It's been going on for years. So hopefully with that paired with the It movies coming out, maybe it's gonna kickstart like how everybody wants a hand or finger in the superhero pie. Maybe the next big IP is books like Stephen King, and just that can be the next big ensemble universe movie.
That's
possible.
pretty true. And speaking of, like, I'm so excited for it. Like, so you read it probably.
Yeah, I didn't finish.
You didn't finish it.
It's
So like,
really long.
I'm going to admit, like, you guys like know this pretty well already, that I don't read like at all. I mean, even like comics, like I just look at pictures. But I'm so excited for it. I'm so excited for Jigsaw. I'm so excited for summer to be over. Thank God it's over, and fall is coming, and Halloween and spooky stuff is coming back.
Yeah.
So,
What did you think of The Dark Tower? Like,
I wasn't exactly happy with it. If it were a standalone movie that had nothing to do with the books and what the books give to this universe.
you read them as well?
read the first book.
Okay.
But I knew what it was about because it's a really old series.
Yeah.
King started writing this in like back in the 70s, and then he didn't finish it up until like recently.
Okay.
So, well, relatively recently. But I was really set for a series of movies, and that's not what it's going to be.
Oh.
They kind of pick and chose what they wanted throughout this. I think it's 6 or 7 books.
7, yeah, technically 7, yeah. Yeah, one of which is like a prequel book that exists between, it's just, yeah, 7 books.
Okay.
But it's Samuel L. Jackson?
No.
Oh, I don't know why I had that in my head.
I mean, Idris Elba?
Yeah.
British actor Idris Elba?
Oh
Why did
God,
I
Lisa.
No, I thought, no, I'm not imagining Idris Elba and I'm imagining Samuel L. Jackson. I didn't watch the trailer or anything, but that's
You're
who
probably mixing it up with the movie that he's in with, there's another movie that Samuel L. Jackson is in that just came out. But Idris Elba, I was so excited to see Idris Elba on the big screen. And I loved him from Luther. Did you watch Luther?
Yeah. I watched the first season of Luther, and the only reason I didn't finish it is because I just don't understand British law, and I keep yelling at the screen, like, what? They need a warrant! They can't do that in America! These British tea drinkers! But no, he's great in Luther.
Yeah.
He's excellent.
He's great in this too.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal. So is the boy actor that's in it. He was in a few other things I can't remember off the top of my head. Matthew McConaughey was miscast, I feel. I just couldn't see him.
He probably was just like, alright. Like, that's probably like...
I just have a hard time buying him as this really super dark character in this universe.
Okay. Interesting. Because, I mean, in... What was that series? The HBO series where he's True Detective.
True Detective.
Yeah. Right?
Yes.
That's Matthew McConaughey.
First season of True
He was
Detective.
pretty dark in that. Like, in that role, I definitely believed him as a darker type of character.
Maybe they just didn't give him enough moments to really bring that through.
Mm-hmm.
It could be fault on the writer's side or the director's side. I just feel like they glossed over too much of what people really appreciate about these books because it's an epic.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, and it's something that Stephen King wrote that's totally different from any of his other books. Like, he's very dialogue driven. He gets a lot into, I don't know, it's just completely different writing style that he has in this series.
Yeah, and if you're a fan of the books, so like I said, I've read them. You can tell, even if you didn't watch the movie, if you just saw the trailer, you know it's they took like 3 books and dissected those 3 books and put it in one movie.
Yeah.
Because there's events that you see in the trailer that didn't happen until like book 3 or book 2.
Yeah.
And on top of that, though, they cut characters. Because there's supposed to be 2 other major characters that join Roland in his quest, and they should have been in this movie if they were going to just cut straight to book 3, which they didn't. But then again, I didn't see the movie, so I could just tell you right off the bat from the trailer, it just felt rushed.
Yeah, you'd be right about that.
It felt like they were losing the rights to this, and they just like, we gotta just put it out there, guys. Like Sony holding on to Spiderman or the Fantastic Four with Fox. Like, they were just, I mean, it's like I said, it's been going on since almost over a decade now. Like, this is I personally think is a series that should have been on HBO or should have been a series and not a movie, because they just explore different elements that you just cannot fit into a 2-hour, 3-hour movie.
Exactly.
Man.
And it's a lot darker too.
Yeah? Darker in the
A
books.
lot darker, yeah. Because it's Stephen King.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
He goes there.
I mean, you know what should have been a lot darker and was kind of disappointing, I guess, for us here in New Jersey, was the eclipse. Like, just gonna bring that up because I feel like that was like the pinnacle moment of the summer, and summer is like coming to a close now, and it's kind of how I felt the entire summer, like kind of disappointed with what the entertainment and every thing about movies or books or whatever has kind of felt like flat.
I had my sacrificial altar out. I rented a goat. Like, and it was just nope. I literally borrowed somebody's glasses. I was like, oh, cool, whatever. And I'm okay.
Thank you.
Guess we're not gonna have an apocalypse.
No, everyone was talking about it's gonna be so dark, it's gonna be nighttime during the day, and I was like, oh, that's gonna be so sick. And then it just.
Yep.
But
we live in New Jersey.
Well, we live in New Jersey.
Called up Alaska and they've been like, it's not that cool.
It's not that cool. But
it's actually depressing.
But that wraps up our summer and the summer roundup. So thank you so much, Alisha, for being on and talking about the summer with us as much as we could pack into however long this will be. And yeah, so thanks. And
it's been a pleasure, y'all.
Thank you. Well, where can everyone find you?
Oh, okay. Like I said, I write for a wonderful website called thepopbreak.com. I mostly do comic book reviews, Rick and Morty reviews. I also maintain their Twitter feed. My social media is Twitter is you can find me at Alisha Weinberg, and my Instagram is Alisha.Weinberger. So
all right,
likes and pics.
Yes,
mostly cats and typos.
But yeah, so that's it. You're gonna start seeing more of us now that I'm finally back, and it won't just be Jenna anymore.
Sorry, guys.
But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. Until next time.